Well, good evening. We want to welcome you to In the Blender
Good evening.
with Brandon and Madeline Hyman, and we're just so excited to have you guys on with us on this evening. I know you guys enjoyed last week. My wife and my daughter, they were on, and they shared an awesome word with you guys, and so we're just excited to be back here on tonight. You guys are in for a treat. I tell you, listen, you want to make sure that you contact your neighbors, your friends, all the blended families that you know, and let them know that In the Blender with Brandon and Madeline Hyman is live on air on Facebook. And so, listen, we're going to give you a moment to reach out, to make your contacts, get everybody in place, because I promise you guys, you don't want to miss what we're going to be sharing on this evening. It's going to be power-packed. It's going to be insightful. It's going to be enlightening. There are going to be some things that you have heard. There are going to be some things that you haven't heard. There are going to be some things that's going to just all together liberate you. And I tell you, you're just going to be in for an awesome time on tonight. So, sweetheart, let's start off with our statistics so we can jump right into this.
Okay. Studies show that the attitude of both parents play a huge role in how the child will adjust to the blended family. Parents who demonstrate negativity or talk badly about the step-parent will make the transition more difficult for the children.
Mm-hmm.
Children who live in a blended family are 50% more likely to develop health problems than children living with both biological parents.
Mm.
And then lastly, since most people tend to remarry, the blended family becomes more and more common every day.
So did you guys hear those statistics? Did you hear those stats? Those are some real good stats. The first one says that studies show that the attitude of both parents play a huge role in how the child will adjust to the blended family. So it's important, guys, to understand that your attitude has to be on point. There can't be any division. There can't be any schisms. There can't be any things. There can't be any animosity. There can't be any anger, any frustration as relates to the biological parent and the blended parent. Everybody has to be on point, because if you guys aren't on point, you affect the child or the children. And so we don't want to negatively affect our children. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that everything we do, we set them up to succeed and thrive as positive citizens in this world. And so in order to make sure we're doing that, you got to be on point. So your attitude plays a huge role in how they'll adjust to this blended family dynamic. When parents demonstrate negativity or talk bad about the step parent, now this is important. When you talk bad about that other parent, now I'm talking about the biological parent, mm-hmm. because a lot of you guys that watch us, you are the biological parent. You're not in that family dynamic, in the home, but you're the biological parent. So when you're talking bad about that step parent, and we don't use step, we say blended, mm-hmm. but I'm reading what the stats say, so I just follow what they say. When you talk negatively about that parent, you make the transition more difficult, because more is caught than taught. And so a lot of times you can say some things, but then your actions will show something differently. Mm-hmm. Or you will do something, but your words are different. And so you don't know what the child is catching. Either they're catching what you're saying, or they're catching what you're doing. But you better believe they're catching something. And so it's important to understand that you don't have negative things to talk about as relates to that parent. One of the things I so love about my wife is, even when we first got together, even up to this day, I haven't once heard her say anything negative about the girl's father. Now, I don't know, any experience that they may have had that may have warranted negativity to be said. But I know it was something that she resolved within herself to say, you know what? Regardless of what went on, what transpired, what happened, what decisions we made or did not make, I won't bring myself to put my mouth on him. Now, whatever decisions or choices the girls make, they'll make them based upon their own understanding, mm-hmm. and their own revelation and knowledge of him and our relationship. but it won't be based upon anything that I do. And let me say that, guys, say this. It takes maturity to take that type of position. It takes maturity, because most times people want to dog somebody out because things didn't work. Even when you the one chose to walk away, there's just that seed in people that make them still just want to dog a person or diss a person or just talk ill will about a person. So you got to understand that when you do that, you make the transition more difficult.
Right.
And then it says children who live in a blended family are 50% more likely to develop health problems than children living with both biological parents. And this is something that we saw. And when I read that stat, I had to put it in because it reminded me of an episode that one of our daughters had. And that episode was because in the beginning, I created a negative environment for her. I created an environment that wasn't conducive for her growing, wasn't conducive for her to expand in life. And because I created an environment that didn't help her or wasn't beneficial to her at that particular moment, she started having some issues. And I'll never forget that time we got a call. We had to rush up to the hospital because she had an episode. We don't know if it was a seizure or what. We just know she had an episode. And so, but it's important to understand that if it's not right, health problems will arise. Things will come because children don't know how to always deal with things.
Right.
A lot of times they internalize things,
Right.
and internally they do more harm to themselves if they will verbalize it.
Right.
And so she was one. Well, she ain't like that now. She gonna tell you what's on her mind, but back then she would internalize everything. Now you can't make her mouth be quiet at all. She just go on, But I thank God the fact that we were able to adjust and make the necessary changes so that she can now become the helpful person that God intended for her to be. And so that's important. And then it says this, hey, Belinda. And then it says, since most people tend to remarry, the blended family becomes more and more common every day. And so, guys, let me tell you something. This isn't something that we just woke up one day and said, we're going to talk about us. This is something that we had a clear understanding that there was a need to hear how to be successful as it relates to the blended family. Awesome man of God, great partner that I go to ministry with, Darren Hester, gave his testimony on last Friday of how he dealt in his family dynamic with the blended family. And I'm telling you, it's people out here that are doing some awesome things as it relates to the blended family, but there's so many that don't know what to do. There's so many that are clueless, and we just want to share with you guys some practical things that you can use to be successful, because you don't need something that's big and outlandish. A lot of times you just need something practical, something that you can touch, something that you can grab, something that you can pick up and put down. But you don't want to put this stuff down. When you pick it up, you want to make sure you keep it lifted up, because those are the things that you're going to use to take your family from the next place to the next place to the next place. And so tonight we're going to talk about you being the answer. Because a lot of times, guys, we don't know that we're the answer. We are this earth's answer. And so we want to share with you guys how in the blended family, you are the answer.
Right.
And so the first thing you need to understand is
that someone is dependent on you to have a successful blended family.
Someone is depending on you to what?
Have a successful blended family.
To have a successful blended family. What does that mean? That means that you can't give up. You can't walk away. You can't throw in the towel. You can't let things frustrate you so that you just don't know what to do. You always have the answer. Most times you just have to listen. Most times you just have to get quiet to yourself and open your ears and your heart to receive what it is, the instructions that you need in order to fix the situation.
Right.
That's what I had to do. When I realized that people were dependent on me, I had no idea in the beginning how much people were dependent on me until I said I do. When I said I do, immediately I started getting an understanding just how much people were dependent upon me. And so when I was making those stupid mistakes, and I was doing all those crazy things, it kept coming back to me. You letting people down. You letting people down. You letting people down. And sometimes it feels like that can be a lot, but it's really not. It's really not, because you were designed to carry. You were designed to carry. I knew I was designed to carry people. And so I knew that someone was depending on me to be successful in my blended family. Thanks, Belinda. I appreciate that.
Yes.
And so the second thing is evaluate your circle periodically. Read that, sweetheart.
Evaluate your circle periodically. Evil communication corrupts good manner. 1 Corinthians 15:33.
Stop right there. Now, a lot of times we're going to give you guys scripture because we're scripture carriers. We're ministers of the gospel. And so this isn't something that we're just thinking of and we just want to throw some stuff out to you guys. We want to give you foundational principles to improve upon your life and your family. And so that's why you have this. Evaluate your circle periodically. Evil communication corrupts good manner, and that's 1 Corinthians 15:33. If you guys want that scripture, there it is, 1 Corinthians 15:33. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Be not deceived. A person calls to believe something that is not true.
So that's deceived. Be not deceived. So if you want to know what deceived is, it's a person
Calls to believe something that is not true.
That's right. That's what that is. And then what are the synonyms to that?
Swindled, defrauded, cheated, tricked, hoodwinked, misled, fooled, outwitted, beguiled, double-crossed, and then evil communication. You said that evil communication corrupt good manner.
And that's outwitted.
Outwitted. What did I say?
Outwitted. You said out.
I did say outwitted, didn't I? What did I say?
Don't worry.
Okay.
It was close enough. But understand that if you're falling in any of those, if you're being swindled, if you're being defrauded, cheated, you feel like you're being tricked, hoodwinked, misled, fooled, outwitted, beguiled, double-crossed, all of those are synonyms to being deceived. And that's why scripture says, be not deceived. God doesn't want you to be swindled as relates to your life, as relates to your blended family. He don't want you to be outwitted. See, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And a lot of times you're going through things and you're looking at your partner, you're looking at your spouse, you're looking at your children, and you think it's them. When in actuality, it's not them. It's the enemy of your soul that's trying to keep you from benefiting from God's plan for your life. He's trying to keep you from benefiting from successful lifestyle. And so all these things will come, and they'll come to deceive you. So you have to understand that you got to evaluate your circle periodically. And we say that because there are a lot of connections that we have or may have had that aren't really beneficial to us. Now, they may have been good for us early on, but just because something is good for you early on, that doesn't mean it's good for you right now. I'll give you a great example. Many of you guys heard me talk about me losing weight. And now I'm in the process of developing my body. Well, in the development of my body, what I'm doing right now is certain things that was good for me before that's no longer good for me. I'll give you a great example of that. I used to make my shakes with sweet potatoes. I can't do that right now. Why? Because the sugar content in it is counterproductive to me burning fat. And so since the sugar content is counterproductive to me burning the fat, now I got to take something that I enjoy, something that I really like doing and participating in, and I had to now put that to the side. And that's the same way it is with the people that we communicate with. There are some people that were in your life early on that were good for you, that assisted you in getting to one place. But sometimes you got to stand back and look, okay, where am I at right now? Am I going forward or am I going backward? Because understand this, you're never standing still. You might think you're standing still, you might think you're stagnant, but in actuality, your life is either going forward or it's going backwards. And so there are some people that you're connected to that you don't even know that they're pulling you back. Because a lot of times people don't want to see you grow, especially when you outgrowing them. And so because we have this allegiance with people and we so loyal to people and we so connected with people, that's my dog, that's my girl, that's my whatever, you know, they was with me through thick and thin, you know, okay, that was good for them. But are they able to push you forward? See, that's what's important. I'm not saying you push them to the side and you neglect them, but I'm understanding you got to now begin to evaluate that circle, because maybe, just maybe, they can be a part of the outer circle and not an inner circle. Because your inner circle got to be where you're going, not where you at or where you've been. Your inner circle always has to be where you're going. Because you need people in your life that's going to push you forward, not keep you still, not pull you backwards. And when you don't understand that communication becomes evil. See, evil isn't always somebody that's designed to do bad, you know, or that's doing you bad. Evil is also people that aren't doing you good. And what I mean by doing you good, you're not pushing me forward. You know, when I get off, you don't check me. When I seem a little, you know, like things aren't right, you're not there to speak words of encouragement. You're not there to speak words of healing or deliverance. You joining the pity party with me. Or you the one saying, I told you so. No, I don't need that. I need somebody that's going to say, hey, get yourself together, man. You said I do, until death do me part. Now let's get it going. You said I'll never leave her nor forsake her. You said I'll always be there for him. I'll always be there as a support mechanism for her. I'll do all these things. But when times get a little rough or a little shaky, now you're talking out the side of your neck. And those same ones that you think are the ones that's supposed to be connected to you, they're not telling you what you're saying is incorrect. Let me say this. If you got somebody with you and they're afraid to tell you you're wrong, and they're afraid to tell you that you're out of line, they're afraid to tell you need to get yourself together, you know right now that's not the person you need in that circle. That's not the person you need in that circle. What's the next one for y'all?
All growth is a product of exposure.
All growth is a product of exposure. That's how we were able to grow. We exposed ourselves to things that were greater than us. We exposed ourselves to relationships that were greater than us. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we did that exposure from afar off. Mm-hmm. See, you think you got to get close to people in order to get what's on them or to glean from them. You don't have to get close to them. You just got to watch what they do. You just got to watch what they do and listen to what they say. And when you watch what they do and listen to what they say, then guess what? You are exposing yourself to growth. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a great example. Because, you know, my wife said I like to talk about myself, so I'm going to talk about myself. But I'm exposed to greatness. Yeah. I'm exposed to greatness. I told you I'm working on this body. Well, guess what? The person that's assisting me in working on this body does not work out with me. That person doesn't work out with me. But that person has allowed me to glean from them. They've given me the proper tools in order to get myself together. And so now I take those tools and then I take the information that was given and things that I saw and I apply it to my life. And now I'm beginning to get the body that I want based upon the information that I received.
Right.
You like that, don't you?
Come on, go. Don't worry about me. You go, got this. Come on.
So understand, all growth is a product of exposure. Mm-hmm. You want your family to grow, expose yourself to people that are grown. Wow. Right. You want your family to grow, expose yourself to people that are grown. The reason why you guys aren't growing, because you expose yourself to children. You expose yourself to people that are immature. People that don't have the God kind of faith. People that don't believe above their circumstances and their situations. People that don't believe that they're greater than what they're dealing with. And as long as you're exposing yourself to that, you'll never grow. But if you want to truly grow, surround yourself and expose yourself to people that have your answers.
Right.
My pastor always said, get away from people that have your problems and get around people that have your answers.
Yes.
That's what we do. Listen, people, I love everybody, but I only hang with certain people. I only deal with people that got my answers. I don't have time to deal with people that have my problems, because we don't need to be crying on each other's shoulders. I need somebody that's gonna say, "Get yourself together," because I'm rough, I'm tough. I don't need somebody that's not gonna push me to be all that I was designed to be. And so understand that all growth is a product of exposure. What's the next one, sweetie?
In order to reap right, get back from your family what you desire, you must learn to sow right. Present to your family an example to model. I'm going to read that again.
Read that again.
In order to reap right, get back from your family what you desire, you must learn to sow right. Present to your family an example to model.
So I hear a lot of people complaining about what they're getting back from this. What I'm getting back from this, then they don't respect me. They don't honor me. They don't do this. They don't do that. Well, that's reaping. But in order to reap right, in order for you to get back from your family what you desire, you got to learn how to sow right. And a lot of times, sweetheart, I find out people don't know how to sow right. He don't listen to me. He don't care about me. He don't do this. He don't do that. Okay, but what are you sowing? What are you sowing? Because it's apparent that you're doing some things that's blocking what it is you really want. And let me say this. If you're not doing those things, then understand to everything there's a time and a season. Mm-hmm. So keep doing what you're doing, because the time of reaping is at hand. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times I found out too, sweetheart, that we stop doing what we're supposed to do too early. And again, I got to get back on his body. Because I got a designated time that I got to get it in. And if I stop too early, I'm not going to get the benefits of it. I'm not going to reap what I'm supposed to be sowing. And so I got to make sure that I'm in the gym at my appointed time, doing my appointed exercise, and I can't deviate from it. I can't deviate from it. And it just hit me because we're sharing stuff with you right now, and a lot of you guys trying to figure out how you can deviate from this information. How can I take that and then make it mine? Just do what we said do. Mm-hmm. That's how you make it yours. It's just that's what my trainers. Hey, listen, just do what I tell you to do. When you do something opposite of what I tell you to do, you can't expect to get the results that I told you you're going to get. Yep. And many times you guys are trying to do things that is contrary to what the information that you've been given. And so you can't expect to get back from it what you were designed to get from it if you're not doing exactly what it is you were told to do. See, even my godkids saying, hey, they in on it. And so it's important to understand that. In order to reap right, that means in order to get back from your family what you desire, you must learn how to sow right. Meaning, you must present to your family an example to model. Everything I do,
so it's actually, so in order to reap right, you must learn to sow right.
Correct. And so sowing right simply means if there's some things that I want, then I model those things. Mm-hmm. I model it. If it's something my wife wants, she gotta model it. She can't want something and refuse to model what it is she wants. I can't want something and refuse to model what it is that I want. Because what am I showing her? Me telling her and showing her are two different things. Because a lot of times you can tell a person something, but they really get it when you do it or when you show it to them. And so what I do is the things that I want, I model it before her. Now you're without excuse to say you didn't know what it is that I wanted. How you not know what it is that I wanted and I just showed it to you? Mm-hmm. I've been doing this for XYZ amount of years, amount of months, amount of days. So you're without excuse. Now it's either you want to do it or you're resisting to do it. And so what's the next one, sweetie?
Understand that your position in the blended family is bigger than you.
Wow, my God, look at the time. Understand that your position in the blended family is bigger than you. It's so much I can go in on that. Because I understood early on, I really understood this, that my position in the blended family was bigger than me. I wasn't just a husband. I was now a father. I was a provider. I was a leader. I was an instructor. I was a coverer. I was a protector. So I understood that my position was bigger than me. So I really didn't have time to stay in my feelings. I really didn't have time to stay in my emotions. Because a lot of times, guys, you're missing it because your feelings and your emotions are more important than your role. And when you put your feelings and emotions above your role, you'll blow it. So many, just look at it in the secular world, look at it in the workplace. When people put their feelings and emotions above their role, they always blow it. They always miss out on that position. And when they get that position, it gets taken away from them. And a lot of times, guys, it seems like things are getting taken away from you only because you have forgotten to stay in your rightful place. You have forgotten to understand that it's bigger than you. I understand that me being faithful to my wife and to my family is bigger than me. It's more. It's not even about me. It's about my wife. It's about my children. It's about those that are watching me, those that are looking up to me, those that are listening to me, those that are paying attention to me. It's bigger than me. And so I can't afford to go around sleeping with every young lady that want to show some cleavage or some butt crack. I can't afford to do that. I can't afford just because you say I look good or smell good. I can't afford to get twisted. Because the moment I make an error, the moment I make a mistake, now I'm responsible for all those many people that have been watching me, that have been listening to me, that have been looking at me. I'm responsible now for their reactions and their responses. And see, a lot of times, guys, we don't want to be mature enough to understand that. But at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. And so I got to make sure that I'm on point with that. I got to understand always that this is bigger than me. It's bigger than me. What's the last one, sweetie?
For tonight?
For tonight.
When your family knows how much you care, your influence will increase.
Wow, that's a perfect one to close on. When your family knows how much you care, your influence will increase. Early on, my influence was little. My influence was minimum. I mean, bare. I had very little influence in my family because I just wanted to show what I knew, but I didn't want to show how much I cared. And it wasn't even the fact that I didn't care. I just didn't let it be known that I cared. Because a lot of things I did looked like I didn't care. But once I began to show my family how much I cared, wow, guys, you have no idea how fast things begin to change, how quickly things turned around in my favor and on my behalf. Because, first of all, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God. And so I was missing out on my favor because I wasn't showing my favor how much I cared about my favor. And because I wasn't showing my favor how much I cared about my favor, I couldn't get from my favor. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about favor, period. I'm talking about things in life. There were things that I desired and wanted that I couldn't get because I didn't value the favor piece that God gave me. And then I didn't value my children. They didn't know how much they meant to me. Because all I did was give instructions. Do this, do that, 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 do this, do that. I got tongue-tied, exactly. Because that's all they heard me say. Do this or do that. And so they never knew early on how much I cared. But when I begin to show them how much I care, I promise you right now, they're calling me. Can I do this? Will I do that? What you think about this? What you think about that? They wouldn't ask a man those questions if they didn't know he cared.
Right.
But I had to put the work in to show them how much I cared. And because I showed them how much I cared, my influence in my family is great. I'm to the point now where they're hinging off of words that I say. That's when you're doing this dynamic the right way. When now your family begins to hinge off the words that you say. If you say something that doesn't sound good, then it don't sound good to them. Even though they don't understand why it don't sound good, it don't sound good. Mm-hmm. But because they understand how much I care, my influence has increased. So if you want that influence to increase, guys, show your family how much you care. Take the time to talk to them, man. Listen, shut it down. Talk to everybody individually. Mm-hmm. Get to know their heart, know their thoughts, their aspirations, their goals in life. And if they don't know, assist them in understanding those things. Assist them in getting some.
Right.
That's the role you're going to have to play. Both mother and father, blended parent, both blended parents. That's the role you're going to have to play. But if you want that influence to increase, show them how much you care. Wow, it's 8 o'clock. Let the time go. Listen, guys, I am excited. Listen, it's more to this. It's more to this. You want to make sure that you tune in next week. Hey, Tawana, what's going on? You want to make sure that you tune into this, guys. I'm telling you something. The rest of this information, part 2, is going to be phenomenal. I promise you, it's going to be phenomenal. Because, see, this year, we're checking. This year, we're challenging you to take this family dynamic to the next dimension. People are depending on you to be successful. They're depending upon you to be great. It's no more time for average families. It's no more time for subpar. It's only time for greatness. And the only way you're going to get greatness is you're going to have to get a coach like us that's going to get behind you, that's going to bark in your ear, that's going to get up on your back, that's going to make sure that you push everything out of you that can be brought out of you, and then keep pushing.
Right.
And so we love you guys. We thank you. Our final thought is what, sweetheart?
Always remember that every family is different and may have different challenges. So every blended family challenge should be addressed individually depending upon the challenge.
The personalities are different. So you want to measure, make sure what works for you. Use measures that work for you.
One of the main things that you should always do is keep the lines of communication open in the blended family.
Parents should always show unity in front of the children, even if they secretly don't agree.
Showing that you're unified diffuses the enemy's attacks in the blended family.
Lastly, you want to always demonstrate patience.
Having patience to work through the difficult challenges in the blended family will bring about a happy blended family.
And remember, you became a blended family because you chose to. Now choose to be successful. Listen, if you guys have any comments, any questions, anything you want us to cover or go into more detail on, how do they reach us?
Email us at weareablendedfamily@gmail.com.
That's right. weareablendedfamily@gmail.com. Listen, guys, look out real soon. We're going to be having our website up.
Yes.
And so we're excited about that. We're working diligently to get that done. And so make sure you tune in for that because we're going to be blasting that out. But until next week, we love you guys and continue to blend like never before.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.